Hello and welcome to Frontrunner Motorsport. And today we are continuing our look back at Season 3 of Formula E from the 2016-2017 season, which was unfortunately 7 years ago, which makes me feel old. But it also makes me feel nostalgic, which is a good thing. So make sure you check out the playlist and watch all of the other episodes of Let's Watch Formula E, where we have completed the first and second seasons and are now around about halfway through Season 3. Today we are looking at the Paris E-Prix of 2017, which is round 6, the continued battle between Sebastian Buemi and Lucas di Grassi, which was a key feature of Formula E's past. Mara Engel is not at this race for Venturi, and he has been temporarily replaced by Tom Dillman. And we are also missing Loic Duval at Dragon, and we have Mike Conway making his Formula E debut in his place. This will also be the final race for Stefan Sarrazin at Venturi and Esteban Gutierrez at Techeetah. And with that, let's jump into the Paris E-Prix of 2017.
To go. Here come the lights then. On the right hand side in the blue and yellow Renault is Buemi. Alongside him in the black and gold Techeetah car is Jean-Eric Vergne as we wait for the lights to come on here at the Qatar Airways Paris E-Prix. All 5 lights are on and we go green in Paris, and it's a pretty good start from Jean-Eric Vergne on the run down towards the first corner. Can he get the inside line? No. Buemi comes across and covers it well. On the outside comes Nick Heidfeld. Here goes Vergne around the outside. No, doesn't quite manage to pull it off. Still in third place, and there's contact at the back with Daniel Abt and Oliver Turvey. Looks as though di Grassi might have lost a few places, but it is Sebastian Buemi who holds the lead. Jean-Eric Vergne in second place. Jose Maria Lopez is in third. Fourth is Heidfeld. Fifth and down one position is Esteban Gutierrez. The 2 Faraday Future Dragon cars going side by side. D'Ambrosio is about to go around the outside of Conway. That's going to get very, very close as they come into turn 6 and 7. But it's Sebastian Buemi who sprints away up at the front, and he's already built quite a big advantage. Is there going to be any movement coming into turn 8? No, not at the moment, as Rosenquist looks like he wants to try and get past, but Buemi was under a bit of pressure there, but he managed to hold it together.
Yeah, he was under a lot of pressure, and I think Vergne stated his intention. But now it's down to Vergne just to make that gap up again and see if he can put a bit more pressure into the system. I think Buemi, as we've seen in the weekend so far, has got the pace. It's about managing that energy now over the duration.
So, very clean start. No one has made too much contact. I think there was a little bit of bumping, but nothing too bad. We have Sebastian Buemi leading out in front, which typically is the norm in Formula E around this time, but Lucas di Grassi is out the back of the grid, and that's a tough pill to swallow because he is trying to keep up with Buemi in the championship, and the other Audi is also back there. Vergne and Lopez are following Buemi, who is already starting to pull a lead. Hopefully this won't be a dull race where Buemi just dominates, but we have 49 laps to go, plenty of time for a lot of action.
So that's Lucas di Grassi being told that he's got a little bit more usable energy than the car around him. You can see him down in 15th place on that tower on the left-hand side, and 79% of usable energy. He has, but goodness me, I thought he was visiting the wall there for a moment. Back end just got away from him, and that's going to unsettle him and probably put him under pressure actually from Antonio Felix da Costa behind. You can see di Grassi just looking across and checking the mirror. Is that Andretti car going to be close enough? That's Daniel Abt up in front, but no, it's not at the moment. So, lap 7 of 49.
I've jumped forward quite a bit. Well, 7 laps, because nothing's really been happening. There's been no overtakes. It's very much in formation at the moment. Even Lucas di Grassi is not making much progress. He's down in 15th, following Tom Dillman. Can't get past. What's interesting about this Paris circuit is there is nowhere to overtake. It's a really, really tough circuit to really pull a move off. You do not want to qualify down the back of the field here. And it's not exactly leading to exciting racing at the moment. Very much energy conservation, scare electrics, follow the leader, whatever you want to call it. It's been pretty dull for the first 7 laps. The biggest interest we're going to have in this race is watching Lucas di Grassi try and make progress, because he's clearly getting a bit desperate back there.
So Nico Prost's team radio.
Léger sûr.
That is French, I don't understand. And oh, goodness me, that's Gutierrez going defensive from Felix Rosenqvist, and Rosenqvist goes through. So that's Gutierrez dropping down a position to 6th place. So through then goes Felix Rosenqvist. Now Mahindra in 4th and 5th spots. Gutierrez down into 6th position. Buemi still leading the way. 2.2 seconds clear of Jean-Eric Verne, and now Gutierrez is going to get passed by Franks. Is he down into turn 1? Covers the inside line there, but
10 laps in and we are finally getting our first taste of action. Esteban Gutierrez has done well to be in the top half of the field, but is clearly struggling. He's using more energy than everyone else around him, although not loads more, but he is starting to fall back. It was a bit of a risky block on Felix Rosenqvist and it didn't work because Rosenqvist got past, and he is now holding up the field behind him. Rosenqvist cleared him quite easily, and now Freins behind him is trying to get past, and I'm sure others will be following him through eventually. Other than that, not a lot has happened. Di Grassi is still down in 15th. Buemi is pulling well clear of the field. It's not been terribly interesting so far, but we are only 1/5 of the way through this race.
To make the overtake, Franks looking towards the inside line again. Nico Prost is in this battle too, but now Gutierrez is 4.6 seconds behind the two Mahindras of Heidfeld and Rosenqvist in 4th and 5th, so they're really starting to fall back. This is ultimately the battle over 6th position. Oh, and that's Nelson Piquet making an error, I think, on the exit of turn 5. And he's dropped way back. He was in 13th position. Looks as though he's dropped back to 16th now, and that's 1 position gained for Lucas Di Grassi. Didn't quite see what happened. Looked as though he's just gone in a bit deep.
Yeah, it looked like somebody actually got underneath him and squeezed him up to the wall, and it'd be interesting to see if he's got any damage.
That 15 of 49, so we're about 10 laps or so away from the pit stop window.
I'm noticing as we get closer and closer to that pit stop window, Di Grassi's ability to marshal his energy is coming through once again. They're seen with 47%, significantly more than others.
108.
We are now seeing the Audis make some progress. Daniel Abt has gained a couple of positions. Di Grassi actually dropped behind Da Costa, but Nelson Piquet made a mistake and hit the wall. He's still in the race at the moment, but it does bring Di Grassi up 1 place back to 15th. It's still a very slow race for the Audis. Whilst Abt is making progress, Di Grassi is really struggling, but then it could be strategy. He does seem to be focusing on his battery life. He has more energy than anyone else. Other than that, it's still Buemi leading by miles out front. We haven't seen too many overtakes. Gutierrez is still hanging on in 5th, ahead of Freins, so progress hasn't been made there. And still, not a lot has really happened in this race, and we are now pretty much 1/3 of the way through.
Esteban Gutierrez defending from Robin Franks, going in very, very deep. Still holding on to that 6th spot is Gutierrez. Using a lot more energy than the folks around. Well, actually, not too much. Compared to Buemi and Verne, he's on about the same now. So whereas he sort of seemed to eat through it when he was trying to keep pace with the guys in front, he's kind of matching them. Now he's backed off a lot.
How are we on temperatures?
That's Robin Franks asking how we are on temperatures. Di Grassi's very close now to Antonio Felix Da Costa, close enough for a move. Da Costa covers the inside line. Oh, he's going for around the outside. That's never going to work. They're both in the wall. Da Costa off, Di Grassi off. And that is a disaster for the championship contender. Da Costa's going to be out of the race, but that was almost an identical to a week ago in Monaco. Going around the outside, well, was it ever going to work?
I don't think it was ever on, to be fair. I'm slightly surprised that he tried to make the move. Frustration, that's all that was. It just boiled over.
So Da Costa climbs out of his car. The Andretti is out of the race.
I can't believe it. Di Grassi's out. Well, he actually continued, but I think he will retire because he's going to have to jump in his second car, and it's 10 laps before the pit stop's due. He's going to struggle to make that go to the end. Da Costa's just out of the race. It was an ambitious move, and it was never going to come off. I don't think Di Grassi squeezed him against the wall. I think he did try and close the gap down, and they made a little bit of contact, and then they kind of got tangled up. Maybe Da Costa could have backed out of it, but he's a race driver. That's not what they do. But this is terrible for Degrassi because he needs to keep up with Buemi. And Buemi is just dominating the race at the front. And actually this might be a bit annoying for him because it's going to bring out a safety car and might wreck his strategy. But it's turned the championship on its head, and the race, I guess. But Degrassi was getting more and more frustrated with Da Costa. They had made contact several times before this. It has been the battle of the race, and it's kind of a shame it's ended like this. But what a moment for the championship.
Rosenquist has come in now into the pit, so at the moment Conway's the only one staying out and rolling the dice.
N27. N27.
So watch out for Jean-Eric Verne here coming out of the pit lane. The yellow flags are waving as he rejoins the track now under full course yellow, and all side by side with the Oliver Turvey. Turvey has decided to hold on for that one, but just to clarify, well, there's a look at the replay. Well, they pretty much came out together, didn't they? So that's going to be one for the
attention teams. This is race control. We will end the full course yellow in 10.
Oh, Turvey's decided to pit
9,
now. Turvey's decided
8,
to pit now, as has Rosenquist,
7,
as the full
6,
course yellow is ending.
5,
so we're about
4,
to get racing back underway.
3, 2, 1. Green flag, green flag.
So away we go. The green flag is waving again. That lap counter at the top is incorrect. We're on lap 23 of 49, not lap 16 of 49. So that's what caught me out earlier. That lap counter has been frozen. So we are in the pit stop window, basically. So you should be able to do it. There we go, lap 23 of 49 now. So now we're back on course.
Well, we'll just call this a cock-up cascade, because I thought it was way too early for them to pit, but apparently the lap counter has frozen, and it's actually lap 23, so it's easily within the pit stop window, and everything is fine. Unless you're Lucas Degrassi, who did his pit stop way too quickly and jumped half the field. He is going to get a penalty for that. There's some mix-ups with who pitted when, because, I mean, most of the field pitted during the full course yellow. There was no safety car. I was a bit premature on that. There's a full course yellow, and it looked like Rosenquist and Conway were going to stay out, but then they seemingly changed their mind, but far too late. They've not really gained the benefit of the full course yellow. It's going to drop them back further. So several teams have messed this up completely. It has seemingly caught them all out, and it's even caught out whoever's running the graphics on the screen, because that's wrong. Buemi still leads, unsurprisingly, and hopefully the second half of this race is going to be a lot better than the first half. It's certainly a lot messier already.
So he's now got a problem in the shape of Robin Freitz up in front of him. Buemi, it is leading the way. That last lap, Buemi extended the gap a little bit again, back up to 1.2 seconds now. Here comes Robin Freitz attacking Esteban Gutierrez. Gutierrez didn't see that one coming, and Freitz gets the inside line and makes the move. Is Degrassi going to try and take advantage of that? That's Robin Freitz up into 6th position for the Andretti team. His teammate Da Costa out of the race, and there is the confirmation. Lucas Degrassi and Adam Carroll have both been given a drive-through penalty for being under the minimum pit stop time. So Lucas Degrassi's day gets worse and worse. He's going to struggle to score points here, and as a result, Sebastian Buemi is quite
Lucas,
possibly...
we have a drive-through penalty. Drive-through penalty. Let's do it now.
See if Lucas gives any response.
I bet he wishes he had that fan boost back.
Yeah, indeed. This would extend Buemi's championship lead over Degrassi to 43 points if Degrassi failed to score here, which is looking sort of likelier and likelier, really. A drive-through penalty is going to cost him at least 30 seconds. Minimum, actually, because it's quite a long pit lane here. And he's tucked right up behind Gutierrez now, looks to the inside line, gets the job done on the brakes. Now, they did say let's take it immediately, and he has opted not to do that, by the looks of things, so we'll keep an eye on that one.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised by that. I thought he'd taken instruction, but the loser in that was Mike Conway. From leading the race, is now down in P17, so the decision to roll the dice has not worked at the moment, although he's going to gain a couple of spots now with his penalties.
Yeah, Jerome D'Ambrosio in the other Faraday Future Dragon car. Degrassi asking to confirm the drive-through.
Drive-through penalty.
So the hammer finally falls on Degrassi. He does get a drive-through for being too quick in the pit stops. That doesn't include what he's going to get for his collision with Da Costa, which I think he will get a penalty for that. I think it was probably unfair. And others in trouble, Adam Carroll has also got a drive through for being too quick in the pits. And the Dragon team, who I've previously mentioned have had a terrible year so far, it looks like that's continuing because they haven't really been competitive anyway. D'Ambrosio has been circulating a lap behind everyone, but it looks like he's now out of the race as well. So more drama for Dragon. Di Grassi is going to be coming into the pits at some point, and Carroll is going to drop down to the back of the field. There's a few cars that aren't on the lead lap, like Sam Bird, who we haven't really seen much of, but it's not going his way. And Conway, after he stayed out during the pit stops, but it has not worked out for him, and he's going to really struggle to get into the points from where he is. And I think Oliver Turvey's pretty much only just ahead of getting lapped. So at the moment, there's several cars struggling, but not Buemi. Buemi is still dominating the race, and at this point, dominating the championship.
3 or 4 tenths of a second advantage, I'd have thought, at the end of this lap.
Yeah, I think that would be a nice little psychological boost. He just loses sight of him in his mirrors.
So now this is going to be Lucas Di Grassi going for the fastest lap of the race. And off! It's Jean-Eric Verne. It's Jean-Eric Verne from second place. Is in the wall. Well, here in the commentary box, I felt a huge thud. Wondered what on earth was that. And it is Jean-Eric Verne, the Parisian, out of the Paris-Prix.
It's virtually on our doorstep as he makes this corner, hits the right side wall hard.
He just clipped that inside curb there on the left and unsettled his car across to the right side wall, and that's quite a heavy impact, you know. It's definitely rattled his cage.
And that is Jean-Eric Verne out of his home race, and real disappointment for Techeetah. It promotes Lopez up into second position, but Jean-Eric Verne is going to be gutted. Now this could bring out a safety car, I'd have thought, because it will be a difficult place to recover this car from, as Verne now starts to climb out. And here we go, safety car is deployed. Scott Elkins, the race director. Safety car is on track, deployed. This will spice things up a little bit, close all the gaps up a little bit. And, well, Jean-Eric Verne, he was pumped before the start of this race. Saw him just before he got in the car, and he was giving it all the fist-pumping action, and, you know, even seemed quite friendly to me, which was very bizarre in itself. And just pushing a little too hard, maybe, to try and close in on Buemi. So the Qualcomm safety car is deployed.
That's right, no virtual safety car this one. This is going to take some cleanup.
En R2, pour info, Di Grassi après un drive-through, il est 18e. Lopez derrière toi et Heidfeld.
Okay, so Buemi has just been told that Di Grassi has been given a drive-through and is now down in 18th position. Here we go again with Verne. This is full speed.
So left side wheels. Actually,
that was weird.
He didn't appear to take that much curve.
No, it was interesting actually. I thought there was a bit more curve than that had more of an effect. But when you look at it again, it didn't actually look like there was much movement on the car. But there again, he didn't actually turn left either.
So more drama. Second place, Jean-Eric Verne has crashed out of the race. It looks like a mechanical failure, to be fair. It was a very strange crash. It's a massive shame because he was running really well. He was the only one really keeping pace with Buemi throughout this whole race. He was a couple of seconds behind. Never really challenged Buemi at any point in this race, but he was on for good points. But that's ended in the wall. Di Grassi's come out, lap down, so it doesn't look like he's going to really pose a threat in this race. And I think the Mahindras are next in line to get podiums. So that'd be a great result for the Indian team.
There's Franks, there's Prost. And there is Alain Prost, watching his man Sebastian Buemi lead the race, watching his son Nico Prost hold on to 6th position at the moment, although he's slightly down, isn't he, on usable energy, 26%, as opposed to Robin Franks' 27, 28%. But there's Sebastian Buemi, the race leader, coming into turn 1. Still, Lopez is staying with him, 1.1 seconds back.
He's still matching him on lap time, it's just less than a tenth again on that lap. So maybe he's got something left in the tank. We'll have to wait and see, or I should say in the battery.
Yes, exactly.
So 5 laps left. I can't say this has been the most entertaining race in the world, but it is building up to something of a finish. The safety car did bunch everybody back up. Buemi is still leading, but Lopez is doing his best to put the pressure on. I don't think he's going to get close enough to take the win, but, well, I know Lopez doesn't take a Formula E win, but at least he's there. The Mahindras, 3rd and 4th, great race for them, and really the most interesting battle on track right now is the battle for points. Esteban Gutierrez is 8th, but he has a 5-second penalty, and there are several cars chasing him, but Evans and Sarrazin are just outside of the points. So that looks like the key fight for the last 5 laps. Sam Bird has taken fastest lap, so Degrassi will be back out to try and take that away, so maybe we'll get some excitement from that. Otherwise, this was a pretty routine Sebastian Buemi win.
Doesn't quite look, Mark, as though Lopez is going to have enough here. He's now 1.6 seconds back.
Yeah, Buemi's just opened up the gap there, and I still says,
Degrassi's in the wall. Doesn't really affect anything because well, it means that he won't be able definitely now to set the fastest lap. Whoa, big lock up on the right front. Straight to the scene of the accident.
That's just summed up his weekend.
yeah, absolutely. Second crash of the race for Lucas Degrassi. Looks like he's got going again, has he? Well, double wave yellow, so perhaps not. He will get going in a moment. So
we have a safety car.
Degrassi has climbed out of the car, and the safety car is deployed. And I think just like 12 months ago, 13 months ago to be precise, we may well have this race finishing behind the safety car. Degrassi is out of his car. I don't think, as they start the penultimate lap of the race, they will be able to do anything about this. And getting a more than 5-second advantage. Let's see what happens. There's the checkered flag. It's victory in Paris for Sebastian Buemi, and he extends his championship lead. And look, Gutierrez looks like he's run into trouble, maybe. Yes, and now he floors it, look. Now he floors it. Daniel Abt has run into trouble. Oh, that's a little bit dodgy, I think, and Daniel Abt from 7th place looks like he's run into problems. So what a bizarre ending to the Paris E-Prix there. So we'll wait for official confirmation. It hasn't really worked for Gutierrez because everyone is going to close right up to the back of him, but it's worked a treat for Robin Franks. That means Franks won't lose any positions in 5th position. So what a bizarre end to the race.
Daniel Abt falls out of the top 10.
This really was the perfect way to end this race because it's been messy, but it hasn't necessarily been exciting. Degrassi crashes whilst trying to set the fastest lap. I do think there should be rules against that. I think at a certain point, if you're like 8 laps down and just going out to start the fastest lap, you shouldn't be allowed to, because this could happen and it ruins the end of a race. Now, this race could have done with ending a few laps ago anyway, but it's still, something could have happened in those last 2 laps that had an effect on the championship. Maybe Buemi would have crashed, but we'll never know now because Degrassi, who was 10 laps down, was trying to set fastest lap and binned it. And even messier was Daniel Abt breaking down on the final lap as they're about to cross the line and holding up the field behind him as they didn't know whether to pass him or not. Eventually Esteban Gutierrez did get going, but he had a 5-second penalty and had a whole bunch of cars behind him. So in his final race, he drops out of the points. That does also mean that Audi scores 0 points this weekend, and with Edam's 1st and 5th, and with Buemi taking his 5th win in 6 races, honestly, they look unstoppable. And this was an absolute disaster for Audi. I can't say that the Paris E-Prix of 2017 was a great race. It wasn't. There was not a whole lot of overtaking going on, and really, there wasn't even really that much battling on track. What we did get was a lot of drama though, because Degrassi crashed twice and had a pit infringement. We saw Jean-Eric Vergne crash from 2nd. It was a crazy race in its own right, just not necessarily very entertaining to watch. And with that, let's check out the teams and drivers' standings after the 27 Paris E-Prix. Edams take a massive lead in the team standings after both Abt Audis retire from the race. Behind them, Mahindra, who are doing very well to stay ahead of Virgin, and Neo creep into the top 5. Sebastian Buemi increases his lead in the drivers' standings. Lucas Degrassi manages to stay in 2nd ahead of Nico Prost, Nick Heidfeld and Jean-Eric Vergne. So that is all from round 6 of the 3rd season of Formula E. Make sure you check out the whole playlist of Let's Watch Formula E. We are now 2.5 seasons in the bag, and with plenty more to come. And you should definitely subscribe so you don't miss the next few races that I'm going to cover. And of course I'll be talking about current day Formula E very soon as well. The Sao Paulo E-Prix was this weekend, and at some point I will talk about it. With that, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the racing and subscribed. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you very much and have a good one.